Ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, good evening everyone. You are welcome again here on the A platform for raising awareness. At the one of the international news stories, America is hot. Washington is hot. They entered the Caribbean. They want to carry out an attack official Venetian. But Russia enters officially in the dance. Since Russia has finalized its strategic agreement with the Vene, and they just revealed that agreement, part of the content, the rest of the content, they refuse to disclose the content. It is this agreement that is causing the problem. You all know that the United States of America have suffered a defeat in the face of the Russia. They admitted it earlier that they no longer have an option for sanction Russia. What is this thing, this statement? Admissions of failure provided probative force to Russia. Russia now knows that she is free to act as she pleases, seems because America no longer has other sanctions to inflict on Russia. Russia has passed with flying colors all the sanctions, all the tests. Here are difficulties. Russia is now free as a fish in water. The Russia now has complete freedom and latitude to help effectively its strategic partner, which is Venezuela. So America now has something like a thorn in its side in Latin America. So this agreement is very frightening. What is the content of this agreement? In the framework of this conference, Geopolitics, dedicated to current events global, it is of course this current event that we're going to talk about. But as usual, before continuing, I ask you to share. The conference must be held at maximum capacity. It needs to be shared in all groups as long as you can. There you go. And above all, don't forget, no need to like it. Let's go then. In the depth. So, it must be said that the strategic partnership has entered into effective from November 12, 2025. The official entry into force. It is a solemn act of signing. It happened at Moscow. The Russia-Venezuela agreement is now fully effective after the ratification by Vladimir Putin himself and Nicolas Maduro. So all the procedures were followed. So it's not just a simple test, it's a global pact. You know, when the Russia is coming to a country, Russia makes a comprehensive pact that includes all the sectors, all sectors. So in this global pact, there is energy, there are the mines, there is transport, there is communication, but also the security, intelligence, the fight against terrorism and extremism. Here is what they announced publicly. So Moscow saw South America at gates of the United States because Moscow took everything into account. But these elements that they presented, they refused to present other elements that are next to, and those are the most important. So the confidential clauses, there have been confidential clauses. Some provisions have not been made public, such as the military, technical assistance from bases, port access, Russia's access to the bases, military, the military aspect, they don't have them. These are clauses. Confidential information that they cannot to disclose because of Nicolas regime Maduro wants to keep his secret to surprise America. Since if America knows, America will to position in a certain way or other. Even if America knows good and they can't do anything anyway, Americans know they can do nothing against Venezuela because of Russia is already here. But we have to keep that secret. So why is he dividing all the other information except the information regarding the appearance military? means something very dangerous is brewing against America. In any case, America, which wanted to have the new control from Venezuela in South America, Washington is now losing control because that Russia enters properly. You know, it was China that started it to enter. China came prowling around it with its economic contracts. But Russia came in and entered in a way resounding success through a global agreement which touches on all aspects of life Venezuelan. Now, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov provided further details. Official, yes. So Lavrov said this. He asked why the military aspect is not taken into account, is not part of what you have identified as the key sectors of what we are going to call this, of the partnership. Sergei Lavrov responded. He has said no formal military request has not been done. So Venezuela did not do this request. There you have it. So the Russian minister declared no requests for assistance have been received, military emergency of filth. But he continued. He insisted and said the Russia will respect all its obligations and remains in daily communication with the Venezuelan general staff. You see, if she said there were no requests for assistance, no urgent military action has yet been taken, but let Russia continue, right? Let the Russia will respect all its obligations in the partnership and that Russia remains in communication, permanent contact with the army headquarters Venezuelan. That means it happened. Included in the pact, but in the emergency, they haven't asked yet military intervention from Russia, but they are in daily communication, that is to say every day, with the general staff. However, this is the general staff decides. So, if the state major in communications vow the urgency of military intervention, Russian, the general staff of the army Venezuelan woman will provide the information and Russia will automatically intervene. Already, Russian forces are already positioned on the territory Venezuelan. Here is one of the things that are already really scary in Washington. So Maduro, the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, he speaks of a cooperation is already progressing. He said, cooperation is already progressing. So Venezuela confirms that the two countries work daily together. Every day they work together on a daily basis in the military field. So even though they haven't revealed this aspect within the framework of the partnership, but they gave other information like this one, which proves that everything is locked on. He works daily. So it must be said that Moscow is consolidating the southern flank of America just below the nose of the Pentagon. Russia enters right under the nose of Pentagon. That's another victory. The Russia was clever. We have to tell ourselves the truth. So Washington is under pressure. Since the American military presence believed and the United States, which are strengthening their forces in the Caribbean officially to fight against transnational threats, but the Russian Duma claims that Washington is preparing a plan to interfere, aiming to impose a puppet government in Caracas. So Russia has already taken, Russia disagrees with this position, with this famous so-called fight against the terrorist drug traffickers. For Russia, it's an interference plan that America has just to establish and what deduces from it in the clauses of the contract and partnership. Russia is ready to react in case of interference. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. The front page of the news. So thank you for the share. I'll get back to you with some new information. That was good. Obviously, The voice of your humble servant, Robert.